Hi there, I'm Stacey Williams-Ung. I'm the owner of Panthère Studio, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing of the Grunge Tarot. So if you're new to my channel, Panthère Studio is an indie publishing house. We did not publish the Grunge Tarot. We sell other indie decks. I am also the maker of tarot and oracle cards. I've done 4 or 5 decks. And my most recent one is the Rhythm and Soul Tarot. Now, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm absolutely obsessed with and very proud of our city's music history. And so my tarot is also musical, which is why I was so interested in the Grunge Tarot. And I thought it would be really cool to compare these two musical decks. It's such an unusual theme. So I was very excited to see that someone else had done it in a similar way. So let's get started. I've already taken the cellophane off of this, but let's just look at the box for a second and then I'll switch to card view. It says the word grunge itself means dirty or scruffy. It refers to a genre of unfiltered rock music, which adapts perfectly to the esoteric symbolism of tarot cards. I couldn't agree more. I really enjoyed when I was making my deck the correspondences between the magic of music and the way music allows us to have our own fool's journey and the tarot. So I love that someone else has gone down a similar path. The author is Francesca Matteoni, and the illustrations are by Andrea Moresco. So I don't know, these are very Italian names. I don't know if this was done in Italy or if they're Italian-American. I can look that up. But I'm very interested in the art of Andrea Moreco. I think she's really captured the spirit of grunge. I wore my best grunge shirt today. I was, in fact, a 90s college student, if you can't tell from the gray in my hair. Feminist art student in the 90s, so you can imagine how excited I am about a grunge tarot. Okay. This deck is an adventure through the mysterious world of the Major and Minor Arcana, arriving at the heart of grunge, the last great rock movement, which emerged in Seattle in the 1990s and became a global cultural phenomenon. It opens this way, which is very unusual. I love that. I've done drawer boxes with my own work before, but the drawer has always come out the side. So I love this bottom opening, very dramatic. And then this stands up on its own, which is cool. Small-ish little white book. I mean, it's not white, but we like to call these the little white book. And then, oh, even more unusual, it's a rigid box, as you can see, but inside is a tuck box. But anyway, it's pretty cool. These are very large cards, it feels like. Let's see. Compared to my cards, are they as large as mine? Yeah, they're just a tiny bit larger than mine. So here's my Magician. This one starts with the 1 of Cups. It's not the ace, it's the 1. Okay, all right. I'm looking forward to this. Let's have a look. Okay, so the first thing I'm interested in is I'm noticing it starts with the 1 of Cups, which is not the Rider-Waite-Smith system. You know, sometimes you'll get a deck and the King of Pentacles is on the top. It's still the Rider-Waite system, but it's been stacked inverted. But typically, you know, you see the Fool card first, the 0 card. So to see the Minor Arcana on top with the 1 of Cups is definitely unusual. So I'm interested in why they've done that. I'm interested in the artist and the author and finding out more about their backgrounds, where they're from, what their interest is in grunge music. So let's start with the book. Beautiful cardstock, love this, kind of an uncoated. All right, love that. Oh, it starts with the real history of tarot cards. That seems like a long way to go back. So the real history of tarot cards, I'm not gonna read out loud because it's long. Let's go straight to, here we go. Let's learn about our author and our illustrator. Francesca is a poet, writer, and historian. She worked as a researcher in the UK, focusing on witch trials, heavenly body magic, and folk medicine in modern times. She conducts tarot and poetry workshops and teaches history of religions and magic at a few American universities in Florence. Her latest publications include her nonfiction book Dal Matto del Mondo, Viaggio Poetico nei Tarocchi. Okay, so I don't speak Italian, but I pretend to be able to pronounce it. So Francesca Matteoni is an Italian national, all right? And Andrea Moresco, probably as well. He is an illustrator and graphic designer specialized in music and underground music. After studying at the Accademia di Belle Arti in Bologna, he started working in his own style. His illustrations combine visionary and psychedelic aspects of the 1960s, the neon colors of the 1980s, and the underground music culture of the 90s. Okay, interesting. And then I can already see here, just because I'm glancing at the other page, there's a discography for the Major Arcana and the Courts. I love that because I actually did that on my deck as well, where I have a song for every card. So that's super cool. I love that they did that as well. Interesting that they're not actually music historians. They're more tarot historians, which tells me it's going to be a strong tarot in terms of how it reads from a divinatory perspective. But neither of them having grown up in Seattle makes me wonder, I don't know. I mean, I didn't grow up in Seattle, and I know a little bit about grunge music, but I wonder what they used as their sources to really understand the power of grunge music. Okay, the grunge deck. Let's talk about the deck. It's based on the Rider-Waite-Smith system. It says RWS, but for those of you who don't know that, it's Rider-Waite-Smith, which was the 1909 Arthur Edward Waite worked with Pamela Coleman Smith, 1909 deck that we're all used to. A decade of intense, back to the 1990s, a decade of intense artistic experimentation marked by the explosion of grunge music, which emerged in the West Coast U.S. city of Seattle. This new genre conveyed the feelings of an entire generation and embodied that indomitable spirit of youth, hungry for justice, which dwells within all of us throughout our lives. Yes. I'm going to skip ahead. We wanted to use that power to create this deck. Like grunge, tarot cards don't sugarcoat things, but they can help us to see all the different aspects of our life more clearly, at the same time showing us the resources we can cultivate so as to be more accepting and less stressed. Musicians reacted to anger and pain with singing, screaming, and loud, distorted guitars. This deck seems to interpret the themes of the songs with images so that everyone can relate to them. I love that. Very similar parallel to my deck that talks about blues music and jazz music, early rock and roll, the roots of rock and roll, as well as jazz. And in that, I talk about how music helps people transmute pain into joy. And this is great. I love that the book has color illustrations. This is very well done. So this is published by, I think, Sterling Ethos out of New York. Actually, I think this one is the one out of Canada. Could be wrong. It's a little confusing. I think it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's Sterling Ethos. Nice fat book. Let's get into the cards. I wonder if they ever talk about why the order is out of order. Let's just flip through and see what we get. The One of Cups. Looks like it's in a diner, an American diner. Two of Cups. Three of Cups, girls dancing at a concert. Four of Cups. Five of Cups. This is like a beer pong. That's very 90s. Six of Cups. She's handing a soda pop to her friend. This artwork is really cool by Moresco. I really like what he's done with this art. So the Seven of Cups is always one of my favorite cards, I guess because I'm a creative and I always like to see the card that represents visions and imagination and possibilities. So we don't have the ghost in one of the cups, but what do we have? We have this like psychedelic cat, we have this crazy dog, a guitar, a girl with blue hair, a snake. I think that is a heart, like an anatomical heart, and then crystals. Be fun to delve into what all of those mean to the artist. The Eight of Cups, the Nine. He's got a bunch of rewards behind him, right? It's typically trophies, so these look like, sort of like Grammys. Gold record. 10 of Cups, Rainbow Sherbet. Page of Cups. The Knight. Of course, a screaming guitarist. The Queen, and her cups are cocktails, and she's got like, what has she got? She's got cigarettes, and she's got VHS tapes, and she's got a Walkman. She's very much the queen of the 90s with her ripped fishnet hose. King of Cups. I would be interested if the kings and queens represent real musicians. Let's look. I don't even know how to look things up in here. Everything's out of order. Wands. Okay, so weird. Okay, so in the book, it does start with 0, the Fool. Okay, and then the first minor arcana is the Wands, which is traditional Golden Dawn, Rider-Waite-Smith. So in the book, they say it's traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, but that's not actually how the cards appear. They also don't use the term ace. They just use 1. So cups were on top, and now we have wands. So they're not even, it's not even that the minor arcana were on top. It was just completely, I don't know if that was a printer error or if the author wanted the book to be different than the, anyway, back to the King of Cups. What do we need a kingdom for if we don't reside in the soul of the person we love? The King of Cups is supposed to govern the most ungovernable of subjects, feelings. He does it in the only way possible, by not imposing himself, by exploring the emotional life. As in Chris Cornell's Call Me a Dog, the King of Cups doesn't need luxurious clothes. He can make himself humble, wild, a tramp. He doesn't have to satisfy the requests of those he loves, because instead of doing what the other person wants, he tries to do what is best for them. He is not driven by feelings. He protects them. Queen of Cups. I wondered if that was Courtney Love's. In Courtney Love's Nobody's Daughter, she talks about the self-respect that comes from experiencing abandonment. The Queen of Cups' strength is acceptance. She does not judge. She is compassionate and very fragile. She fearlessly exposes her weaknesses. She sits on the throne of overindulgence, but she has not lost herself. She swims skillfully in the ocean of feelings and is well represented by several divas and divos who are lost, yet have survived their fame. The Queen of Cups teaches us to re-emerge. Her lesson is simple. In order to survive, we must surrender to our feelings and those of others. Contain the wave in your heart's cup before it rises up and drowns you. Oh, very nice. Okay, so it's well written. And now we're just going to go to wands, just like that. Okay, let's go backwards. The wands, 2 of wands, the 3, expansion. She's on stage, or he's on stage. It's a very androgynous character. They're on stage. 4 of wands, celebration. 5 of wands. They're having a whole turf battle. The 6, the 7. I love it. So instead of fighting with a baton, like in the typical 7 of wands, and everyone else is waving their batons, he's on stage. So he's separated out from them. He's not a peer. He is the performer and they are the audience. And they're waving various, you know, bats and tools, even a pipe at a rowdy concert. And he's standing up for himself. The 8, he's got a Walkman with a cassette. Love it. The 9, they're singing to candles. 10. It's interesting. It's very Rider-Waite-Smith in some of these, and then in others it's very, very original. Page of Wands, just like you. I love that there's graffiti art in here. That's great. Knight of Wands. That's about the most 90s outfit I've ever seen. I think I had that outfit. Queen of Wands. With the cat, just like is typical of the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Fire. King of Wands. Oh, that's fantastic. I love how dreamlike that is. Shall we look up King of Wands? Now that I know that it's where it belongs in the book. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Knight, and King. The King of Wands represents a leader who inspires others, putting collective ideas to good use. The King of the Grunge deck is somehow different. He travels among the stars thanks to his unwavering faith in the good. He's not stupid. He has known defeat and he has been humiliated. Much like the narrator in Pearl Jam's Given to Fly, the King speaks to the desire for good that is in all of us. He too awaits better times. But don't forget that the fire that incites him comes from the stars. It's like he's a star seed of creativity. Very nice. And now we're in swords. The 1/ace is a tattoo. The 2. Oh my, she's holding scalpels. The 3, heartbreak. Oh, I love the color palette that the artist has used. The color palette is just fantastic. Very consistent and very harmonious. 5 of Swords. The 6. That's funny. My 6 of Swords also has folks on a motorcycle. I guess that's just what happens with rock and roll. 7 of Swords. This guy's fantastic. Look at that crazy hair. I love it. I swear any one of these could have been a record album cover. 8 of Swords. She's trapped of her own imaginings. You know, it's funny, my 8 of Swords also has a woman on stage, and the microphones serve as the cage. So there's another place that we had a meeting of the minds. And this is my first time seeing this deck, so this is very exciting to see that. I feel kind of validated in some of those choices. 9 of Swords. Oh, that one's sad. 10 of Swords. Oh my God. Instead of having 10 swords in his back, he has 10 sword tattoos. That's a very interesting interpretation. Page of Swords in front of the Seattle skyline. Knight of Swords, the one with the great voice. Queen of Swords, oh, she's been hurt. My goodness. She cries blood, and she has wounds on her legs and arms. King of Swords. And now Pentacles. It's a Grunge Tarot album and a turntable. The 2. You know, some of these have a distinctly European feel to them. Like this, you know, they don't really feel like Seattle in many ways. I think it's almost, I guess this is the way the outside world views Seattle or American music. Pentacles, but it's also stylized. You know, the artist is doing a stylized version. There, finally some coats. The 5 of Pentacles, they can't afford to go in and buy a record. They're just out on the street on a gloomy day. 6 of Pentacles. The 7. Interesting, her harvest is looks like a pregnancy. The 8 of Pentacles. Hard work. The 9. 10 of Pentacles. I swear that looks like an album. Fantastic. The Page. Oh, I love how nerdy he is. Fantastic. The Knight of Pentacles is a girl drummer. Such a badass. The Queen with a marionette of herself. Oh my God, that's so great. That's like the existential dread of grunge. Hit it on the head. King of Pentacles with the 2 crows sitting on a heart. Oh, it's the heart-shaped box. Got it. And now we get the Major Arcana. I usually start with that, but here we are. The Fool stepping off a building instead of a cliff. The Magician, that's got to be Kurt Cobain. Yeah, that's Kurt Cobain. King of Grunge is the Magician. Talk about a flawed magician. Poor guy. The High Priestess. Oh, 4 breasts. That's some interesting traditional stuff, man. Bringing the really old esoteric into the 1990s. The Empress, the Great Mother. The Emperor, the Father. Let's see who they represent. I think I know, but I don't want to speak out of turn since I haven't read it in the book. This should come from the authors. All right, the High Priestess. Sorry, I was really interested in the Empress. Okay, Empress and Emperor. The Empress, number 3. The Empress creates life with her transgression. After all, to start something, it is always necessary to transgress, overcome a boundary, change the order of things, to invent a spring dance that cracks the earth to allow the flower to emerge. I love how this is written. It's so good. I'm skipping ahead. She's unstoppable and unrestrained, as powerful in creation as she is in destruction, like the protagonist in the song Jane Says by Jane's Addiction. Oh, awesome. Okay. Now, the Emperor, so she's a character in a grunge song, more so than a famous musician. Let's see who the Emperor is. The Emperor is inspired by Soundgarden's song Rusty Cage. It portrays Chris Cornell, the Emperor, breaking free of his imposed role in order to make decisions for himself, and therefore inspiring others to do the same. There is a rebel hiding in every emperor, someone who breaks the mold, an anarchist who believes the only necessary structure is awareness. Interesting. So the Emperor typically represents structure and setting the rules. So in Grunge Tarot, it makes sense that it would basically be the inverse of that. It would be about how to break the rules, setting an example for that. The Hierophant. The Lovers with the RV, fantastic. Living on the road. And a Zeppelin up in the sky. The Chariot, also on the road. It's like the tour bus. 8, Strength. Oh, instead of a lion, the thing that she's overcoming is her own, oh wow, her own addictions, her own indulgence. The Hermit. The Wheel of Fortune, how it spins. The Justice, Jeremy, another Nirvana reference. The Hanged Man. Oh man, that's dark. This almost, you know, it reminds me a little bit of like the Satanic Panic in the US in the 80s and 90s with the upside down cross. Let's look that one up. I'm sorry I'm not looking them all up, but I'm just... Chris Cornell's Jesus Christ pose depicts a scene similar to the image on the Hanged Man card, which can be frightening at first glance. He questions us from his upside down position. He cannot move and looks like a divinity in some myth, sacrificed for knowledge or the common good. Well, yeah, anyone who grew up Catholic would know that was St. Peter, but okay. He reminds us of our indecision and the presence of obstacles in our path. As in the song, his helplessness challenges us. It reflects our own, which we want to hide, even though it is often one of the few ways to true salvation. What is it that has trapped us, that is holding us suspended above the earth, hindering our path? A sacrifice to ourselves. That's a great card. The book is very well written, you guys. Beautiful prose. Death. Oof. Self-destruction, death. Leonard Cohen. Oh, you know, I don't really think about him with grunge, but actually, absolutely, that makes sense. His sound is very, very dark, which is fantastic. I love Southern Gothic. I've always loved Leonard Cohen, even though he's not Southern. The Devil, that's a great devil. Also reminds me of my devil. I actually have a guy in a nightclub with the jacket over a bare chest and ram's horns. So there's some similarities there as well. The Tower. Looks like a collapsed hotel or urban building. I'd be interested to read the story to that one too. The Stars instead of the star. It's the stars plural. The Moon. Oh, really cool. I love how just like a suburban American house creates the structure for the Moon card. That's really good. This artist is extremely talented. The Sun. And instead of a baby, we have 2 very disturbing looking weird kids. Judgment. With a lighthouse. Oh, and the World. A baby being born. Oh, it's like the Nirvana baby being born. You know, the Nirvana baby. But now we have its mother. Oh, I got to read about this. That's intense, man. Let's see. The World. Oh, it doesn't look like the Nirvana. I mean, oh yeah, it is. Okay. The world represents the reality in which we live. We belong to it from the beginning, and it doesn't take long for us to feel estranged from it. We have to invent a way to get back to it, starting from our inner reality. We only trust in the world at the end of the journey, whatever it was like. The lyrics of Chris Cornell's preaching the end of the world marry perfectly with the baby swimming on the cover of Nirvana's album Nevermind, and also with the mother and son on the Afghan Whigs album Congregation. Oh, I don't know that album. Cool. The World card represents paths coming together, differences enhancing each other, ready to generate something free and vibrant. This new creature is not so much the result of success or ambition, but the response to our efforts to share. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. Well, there you have it, guys. That was the Here's the card back. I didn't really show you that, I'm sorry. It's an eye, it is reversible. An eye with 4 speakers in this fantastic acid green. Everyone's calling it brat green now, but yeah, it's this acid green and turquoise and magenta and gold. And a dark desaturated purple as a fantastic color palette for the Grunge Tarot. Well, there you have it. That was my review of the Grunge Tarot, which we have available at La Panthère Studios, but you can buy elsewhere as well. And I hope you enjoyed it. Drop some comments below and tell me what you think about the Grunge Tarot or any questions you might have. Thanks for joining me.